doing a drawing here. I hope I can get this done. Okay, I'm going to just start up here. Make the neck kind of like this. And down this direction like this. And then there's kind of like cheeks, sort of. Well, it's kind of the part of the cheeks and the neck. And so I'm going to do kind of like a, well, there's like a little cowlick right here. And, okay. Now, this is based off of something derogatory towards women. You know, so this was said to me in my marriage many, many times. The thing that's on the outside of the, you know, that's what he said. That's kind of the thing. So I thought, well, let's dedicate this to an ex-husband who has this sentiment. That's what we'll do. And we will draw something to depict. Okay, so let's see here. How am I going to do this part? Well, let's take this down here, and we're going to take this down here like that, and there's kind of like a little belt around her waistline like that. So we're going to take this out and down like that, and we're going to take this down, and her dress is kind of flowing, sort of. Well, most dresses are kind of like that. So so we do have something written on here. I need to do this in such a way. Let's see. Well, let's do this part first, because I like this thing here. Okay, this, and then we're going to go down and down like that, down and down, and then up, and then up. And I kind of forgot about the port wine too, the port wine, because there is such a thing as port wine and the wine glasses. So there's several different types of ports that we can literally be talking about here. But I was kind of addressing the one, the derogatory one. Let's see here. Now I need to write this on here. I mean, so this is kind of a, you know, women have heard this over and over again. In some places, old port. Let's see if we can write it on here enough. P-O-R-T. Any old port. Okay. Why, hello, we've got some people in here. I wonder if Jericho is in here today. Jericho, are you in here? Any old port. Hang on, let me mute my computer here so I can have a conversation. And so this is, if you guys type in any old port in a storm, it's going to come up on YouTube. And Colombo, there's something about Colombo and the guy crawling up on the beach, and they're talking about wine. But it is near the water, so I believe the significance is the port wine as well. The port wine. Okay, so who have we got here? Let's shout out here to Traveling Gal 26, Peo LaVargas 2194, Linda Lou 1755, So Sly, Slay Girly. What are we talking about that is so sly? Sly Devil? Are we talking about a sly devil or something? Any old port. Okay, so I'm looking at the old TV shows and some of the names of the TV shows, because I know for a fact that they do things based off of the United States military Oh, even David Letterman did that too. I know. Well, maybe that's why someone wrote to me on TikTok this morning and they were talking about, well, what about San Francisco? And I thought, well, what about San Francisco? What are you talking about? Because I was, oh my gosh, I lobbed off a lot of just short little messages on TikTok this morning. I didn't make any videos or anything. I said, I really don't even have to make videos to do this stuff on social media because of the fact it's more tied in with the words than it is with drawing, or doing something educational. And that's what people are asking right now. It's like, well, where are the people who actually do things um, that have some type of talent? And so I wasn't sure if they were talking about, I mean, do they consider acting a talent? Because it's my understanding they said anybody can be an actor. That it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a real brainy person to be an actor. Any old port? Let's see here. Let's get this in here. Will do. And so I was just kind of addressing the sentiment that, how some have related to what they think about women. And I wouldn't be at all a bit surprised at all that now that I've done this, that a song pops up on YouTube, or maybe it's already existed and it's been taken down. That's a great possibility that it already existed and has been taken down. But I just wanted to kind of put a positive light to the taken out of context wordplay here that exists with the internet as well. Because now if we no longer use the wording any old port, or let's say that it's censored in some way or another, then we lose the alternative context and we can't use the wording any old port. Well, then Columbo gets censored. Columbo. And now granted the show is gone. I will lend you that. The show is long gone. Let's see. NASTOR. And oh my goodness, there's that word storm. We don't want to mention that woman's name. No, we don't. We don't want to mention that woman's name now, do we? Storm. The storm? The storm. The storm troopers. Wasn't there a show called Storm Troopers? I think that there was a show called Storm Troopers. There was a show called Storm Troopers. I mean, and then we had Desert Storm, for crying out loud. So this one is kind of fun though. And I did get my AI privileges back again, because I used it too much yesterday. I think I overloaded it and hurt its brain. That's what it, oh, that's what that means. I overloaded AI and hurt its brain yesterday, and that's why I couldn't use it no more. Oh, that's what happened. I hurt its brain. But I got it back this morning, so that's got to be what that means. I used it too much and I hurt its brain, because that's what happens from time to time. So when you were rolling something new out, not we. Well, I am part of the experiment. I think maybe. Then its brain gets hurt. Okay, so let me go over here. Oh, you came back. Hello, Masked While Mysterious. Thank you for coming back. Well, hello, Caleb. Tylus W2J. Oh, goodness, excuse me, I had to belch. Why did I whisper that? I guess. Oh my gosh, this morning I was on TikTok early. I woke up about 6 o'clock, and so I was up pretty early. And so I got onto TikTok for a little bit. They said that thing where you're supposed to wake up for a little bit first before you drink coffee. So I did my hour and a half, and that does seem to work. It says what it says is let your body regulate for at least an hour or two before drinking any coffee when you get up in the morning. And even something else that you can do is just drink some warm water, really warm water. Let your body regulate to normal and then drink coffee a little bit later on. And so there is a little strategy. It may or may not work, but I was on TikTok, and there was these men who was on this woman's thing, and she was so upset because they were on there farting and just doing things that men do. And I couldn't figure out why she was getting so upset, and she was kicking people off of her TikTok for, oh no, well, she made him leave because there was another woman who came back on there who was upset. So she made the men leave, which was, to me, it was like, well, why did you make the men leave? Because they were farting. It's like farting is funny. That's going to get more views than rage baiting. And I explained that to him. I said, the woman on there trying to start rage baiting is the problem, not the men farting, because the farting's going to get a whole lot more views. Plus, it's not going to make people angry. And so, I don't know. She said she couldn't figure things out. Okay, so he says, masked while mysterious. I am glad to be back with you on your stream. Why, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for coming back. I did see your video of the tulip guy that you made yesterday, and I thought it was really cute. I saw it later on after my stream was over, so I thought it was really cute. You know what I did last night? I ended up falling asleep with my clothes on. I covered up with my coat, and I just fell asleep on a bed with my coat on. And I think I slept till about 1 in the morning. I didn't even take my canine out to go potty, which I should have, because he sometimes I have to, I don't want him to go by accident if, because I didn't take him out late enough. So, but the problem with him too is sometimes he gets in the habit of wanting to go out late at night, late at night. Then if I start doing that habit, and that's a bad habit, because then he's waking me up about 1 or 2 in the morning, and I don't want to get up. So I'm better off to take him out around 11 at the very latest, somewhere between 8 to 11. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have told that maybe, but that's okay, because I think a lot of people do the same thing who have dogs. They take their dogs out between 8 to 11. But I think last night I took him out around 7 was the last time I was outside, and that is stretching it. For him to go from 12 hours holding it, but he can do it. I don't know how he does it. Have no idea. But this dog can hold his doo-doo and his urine for a long time, especially if it's raining. He can hold it for a long time. Now, I've noticed that as he's aged a little bit, sometimes he does get into bad habits sometimes. He has bad habits of going in places where I don't want him to go. And so sometimes we have to come up to a happy medium of, okay, let's get a little bit further this direction before you go. I realize you've held it for a long time, and, but he could tell me sooner, but sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he'll go up to the door and sit, and then other times he won't, so he waits for me to take him outside. And so, yeah, he was a solid 12 hours without going last night. He held it for 12 hours. And I thought, my gosh, that's kind of like the thing we hear about with bears. You know how bears hibernate in the winter and presumably they never go to the bathroom for 6 months? You guys really believe that's true? I mean, I know I did when I was a kid, but right now I have to question. It's like, well, how does a bear not pee for 6 months? I mean, I can't imagine that bears would, other than polar bears, wouldn't be out in the wintertime. But, they said that the mother bear actually stays in the den, apparently all winter long with her cubs. And I don't know how she does it, unless her body just metabolizes everything and she's fat enough that she just lives off of all the fat all winter long. And then the cubs are born at some point, and I would think she'd have to go to the bathroom because nobody wants to sleep in that mess. Um, let's see here. Okay, something jumped on here. And so I actually thought that, I thought, I thought I saw a new comment, actually. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, I wish I knew who you were. Sometimes I've always said that I wished I could meet the people who are on my stream in person. And sometimes I wonder, maybe I have. Maybe I have met a few of them, because I know that there's people who literally have jobs through Google and YouTube. And it's like, well, if they don't exist, then their jobs don't exist, right? That's what I always thought. It's like, what happened to the thing of knowing that we are real people? We're not robots, but okay, if you want me to pretend to be a robot, I can do it pretty darn good. I'm not the best at it, but I've just been, I've kind of considered myself a whistleblower in some ways, along with some of the other folks on YouTube who are talking about bad practices. We have a right to talk about bad practices without getting in trouble for it, so and the thing I think about is, like, with some things that have happened to me in the past, after I've seen, well, the military is actually getting the same thing done to them and the politicians, and it's like, well, I'm not a politician though, and I was never in the military, but even though I was a military spouse, I would have loved to have been in the military. And I just didn't want to sign my kids over to my mother-in-law because I just did not want to sign my kids over to my mother-in-law, because she says, oh, if you give them to me, I'm never going to give them back to you. And so she wanted my kids for some reason. And in hindsight, I kind of think that I know why now, because she thought we would be giving her money to take care of my kids, because she says, well, if you're going to go in the military, you probably could right now, but you'd have to sign your kids over to me, and if you do that, I'm not giving them back. And I thought, I don't want that old battle axe raising my kids. I mean, I liked her and all, and once I got to know her, she wasn't that bad of a woman. It's just that she was kind of, it's the thing where I think she said it herself, that her bark is worse than her bite. I think she said that about herself to me one time. She said her bark is worse than her bite. Okay, so Masked While Mysterious says, sorry I was gone. My mom took my phone, so I couldn't get ready for my day. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad your mom gave you your phone back. Okay, so we could quit right here if we wanted to, because this is a very interesting photo right now. And so I'm hoping we can read the depiction here of any old port will do in a storm. But you know what else? We're going to add something else on here. I don't have a lot of details in the background, and you two, oh, you're glad you got your phone back. Yeah. I bet you are. I bet you're glad you got your phone back. The thing is that I had phones. I haven't gotten my phones back. I've had phones taken away now for, oh my, I'll tell you, my phones that were taken away and my computers, let me think. I have to think here for a minute. It's been 7 years. I have phones that have been taken away for 7 years. Somebody took them away from me 7 years ago, and I have not gotten them back yet. And they know who they are. They know who they are too. Okay, let me draw this on here. I think I have enough room on here to get this part on here. We're going to get it on here. Okay. Yeah, it's been 7 years. And it's like, well, do they never give me my phones back ever? So I don't know if that's the longest or what, because what they did, well, to me, is a form of censorship by doing what they did. And I'm pretty positive they got the wrong person related to whatever it was they were doing. Um, okay. Oh, isn't that perfect? Okay, perfect. Perfect. We've got this. Got this. I love this. Okay. So I thought, yes, there's nothing like. Okay. It doesn't have to turn out exactly perfect, but we just wanted to depict. This is kind of a wine glass. Now, you guys have heard about the wine cave. I believe Mayor Pete, Mayor, well, he's not in politics anymore, is he? I haven't heard about him in a long time. So anyway, Mayor Pete talked about the wine cave. He said something about him and his husband had a wine cave or something like that. And, okay, let's darken this up a little bit more. And I'm thinking, you guys are going down, it's kind of like the ice wine cave. You've heard of the ice wine caves in New York City, where they have those iced out wine caves and things like that. And you go inside, it's like an ice bar. They've had ice bars inside of, and people go in and they drink, and I guess they've created this really fascinating um, environment. Oh, that looks pretty good. So there's our any old port will do in a storm. So let's add a little bit more though, because I think I have enough room on this one to add a little bit more. I should add some details on her dress. Let me go over here. I think I have another comment. I'm so excited for at least one comment. Okay, did you see the post or the video that I posted about the tulip man with the president's hair? Yes, I did. I did see it. I liked it. I liked your video a lot. I mean, it was really good. You did it really fast. And so, yes, I did like your video that you made. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I should add in. Okay, so this is supposed to be a ruffle on top of another ruffle here. So I'm going to try to make this look sort of like a ruffle. You did really, really good with your video, actually. I was like shocked that you did it that fast, and it's like you did it faster than I got mine done. I mean, I could sit here and I could talk and draw at the same time for a long time here, and that's kind of what I'm doing. That doesn't exactly, I don't know. That's good enough though. And so we're doing kind of cross hatching. We're doing a little bit of cross hatching. She's got big muscle. Or it could be a he. Maybe it's a, we don't want to be too judgy Karenish now, do we? No, we don't want to be too judgy Karenish here. So, we're just gonna, this is the shadowing. So I've done some cross hatching for the shadowing here. And, okay, so let's see how much room here. You are welcome. Let's see how much room here I have for, okay, so, okay, I kind of want to add in, let me see if I can do this. I kind of want to add in some backgrounds, and okay, let me try some of these other things first before I add the background in, because this can quickly go down south pretty fast because I do have limited room. However, with this one I have a tiny bit more, and I want to try this. Let's see here. Let's try it on this side because I have a little bit more room over here. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I hope I can. I hope I can. Okay, okay, so we're going to do this right here. We're going to add this in here. and we're going to go up like that, and then we are going to go like this. Okay, how am I going to do this? Okay, we've got to get you up here like this, and then you up here on this side like that. And now, okay, we're going to do this. You can probably kind of tell what I'm drawing already. I bet if you guessed, you would guess it right. And so we've got this wire crossing over here like this. And let's see, what else have we got? We've got a little thing on top, which, let's zoom this in a little bit closer to see what we've got. Okay, we've got some little dots right here. It looks like brushed aluminum, sort of. Yeah, it does. It looks a little bit like brushed aluminum. So we'll just add in some little cross hatching, like scribbling, cross hatching, whatever you want to do, like that. And let's see here. Let's see here what we've got. Okay, we'll do this like that, and then we are going to get this over here like that, and then up, and then up, and then, okay, we've got these little things that look like little balls right here. They look like little tiny balls. And we've got this right here, right there, and then we have got this little thing right here, a little thing like that, and it kind of looks like a little stove, sort of. Oh, that looks pretty good. I think we're getting the idea of oh my gosh, I just remembered of the blue lamp. Oh my gosh, I miss the blue lamp so much. I hope he still has the blue lamp. I'm mad at him, and I don't, and I like him, and I don't like him at the same time, and that's the thing that makes me so mad about him. How you like someone and don't like them at the same time. But you know what? That's what marriage is about too. I'm just glad I'm not married to him, because he would annoy the heck out of me, I think, all the time. How someone has that much power to annoy the heck out of someone else that much all the time, I don't know, but he just does. He's got to be something more than what I know about, or something, I don't know. Because I think he has something to do with some of this stuff. I'm not positive, but I'm just speculating, and I don't know anything. I know a lot of nothing. And my nose is running too now. Oh my goodness. I know why. I know why I ate some yogurt. That's why. I know I'm having an allergic reaction to yogurt. But you know what? As long as I don't eat too much, something else happens if I eat too much yogurt too, and I don't think I should share it here since there's children here. I can share this part. Itching happens. Some itching happens. And, you know, I might break out with rosacea a little bit or something like that. So Maskball Mysterious says, I have a Christmas lighting this evening with family, like a drone. Oh, cool, a drone show. I would love to see a drone show. I was hearing something last night that sounded like fireworks somewhere, but I wasn't sure where they were going off at. And yeah, a drone show would be pretty cool. So have fun at your drone show that you get to go to. I haven't seen that in quite some time now. I have seen drones fly above me before, and they're kind of funny because they like to follow you sometimes. I think it's funny when they follow you. You know, they'll fly over you like a little mosquito, and they're just kind of funny. But, you know, I feel bad for the people, though, who end up losing their drones for one reason or another. Some people have said they've lost their drones inside of volcanoes. Others have said they lost their drones in the ocean. Others have said they've had their drones fly too high. And I know you're not supposed to fly drones at the airports, but they do. They do. And I've often thought, how is it these people are flying their drones at the airport near the airplanes and the police they're not arresting them. They're just not. And so it's like, it has me thinking that maybe there is not a law like people say. So so it's kind of like media or somebody is creating laws and that they say on TV, and that it's that thing, if you repeat it enough times, people just believe you. If you repeat it past 17 times and put it out there, then people just believe you that it's true. And when you're just making up your own law on media, and that's all you're doing. So I don't know. I think there's recommendations that the airport says we don't want people flying drones, and maybe so I don't know what I don't think it's personally me. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to lose my drone to an airplane running into it. But I've also heard that there's like drone animals, such as geese and ducks and birds and things like that, that they have drones that are actually animals. And like on ponds and things like that. Oh, I know how to get animals, or it's my understanding after watching it happen. If you have like a new pond or something like that and you want animals to go to the pond, you can use decoys and put decoys out there, and you can actually relocate a nest, so if you were to relocate a nest of birds, a mama bird and her eggs or something like that, and put it in the new location, then I think that the old hatchlings would probably go to the new location. They would just figure out, oh, this looks like a great place to be. And so, because I know that where I was living at, it took a long time for animals to come to the lagoon. And, but somebody came in and they relocated a bunch of nests. They relocated geese nests, and there was women who were calling them her children. She was like old Mother Goose, and she was calling the little birds her children. It was so cute too, especially to think that they moved the geese nests into a neighborhood. And I have to tell you, oh, this was funny too. This was something else that I thought was funny. Okay, so Mask While Mysterious says, well, thank you. I will be right back. You're going to go make a video. Okay, go make a video. I'll look for it later. It should start popping up. And so anyway, where I was at, one time when I was out bike riding, someone took a boat, a huge boat. Now it's like one of those rich people boats they had behind their truck, and they were trying to launch it into a tiny lagoon. It was the most bizarre thing to me. It was almost like it was a spout of civil disobedience of some sort, to the fact that somebody built something in a recreation area where they can't put their boats out to go fishing anymore. And so there was this truck in this housing area, and they had one of those, it was like a giant, I want to call it a Forrest Gump boat, but it wasn't that big. But it was big. It was like a ocean fishing vessel. It was, but I don't know what size they are. I don't know what to call it. So it was larger than a speedboat, but smaller than like a Forrest Gump kind of boat. And they took it. They were backing it into the down this steep embankment, and trying to put it into a lagoon. Now the lagoon was maybe at the most would have only been like, I would say maybe 6 feet deep. And so it's like sometimes people take their they take the low IQ part of doing things a little bit too far sometimes, but I thought, well, okay, well, if he's got a boat and he's got a truck, he's going to be calling up one of his mechanic buddies with a tow truck to come and tow him out. And yeah, and that was so funny because there was a guy who did that at a place I used to live. And Jack was the one who was actually calling up my ex-husband asking for help all the time because he would drive his truck out in the strangest places and get stuck. And he says, "Oh, well, you're a mechanic." And now both of them were mechanics in the military. Jack was too. He was a mechanic. And um, he was getting stuck in places. So he went off-roading. He had a brand spanking new truck. So I think he was a sergeant or something like that. And he'd go off mudding and off-roading. And he would get his vehicle stuck, and then he'd call up my husband, and he'd say, on the weekends, nonetheless, and he'd say, "Well, I thought since you're a mechanic that you would want to come out and get me out." And so then they would be gone for a few hours, and it's like, okay, it was that thing I already knew, that they create excuses for themselves to get out of the house. That's what they were doing, and it's like, okay, I'm fine with that. Go on ahead. I get it, like you guys have, uh, what is it, what they called it, they had to clean the barracks at night, so they said the family members had to clean the barracks at night. Now I'm questioning if they really had to. And so even if they did or didn't, then he would stay gone because he would say, well, I have to go clean the barracks. And I started thinking, you know what? I just think that cleaning the barracks is an excuse to get the guys out of the house. It's like, well, women want an excuse to get out of the house too. So if you guys are going to do that, women should be able to get out of the house too in the same way. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe, I've always heard too, this is the other thing that I've heard, is that during holidays, violence tends to creep up, unfortunately. I like that. Oh my good, not that violence creeps up. No, not that part. But my picture here, I like the barrel actually turned out pretty good. This top, I'm wondering if, no, it looks pretty good. And so that's one of the things they said over holidays, that when families are together, it's people getting together who don't like each other. And sometimes people will drink a little bit too much in the home, and they, tempers flare, and so there's a little bit of an uptick related to people who really don't know each other. They don't want to get together, and so so the thing I've always was drawn towards is like, well, families don't have to get together. If you really don't like each other that much, don't get together. Just do things by yourself, And that's the thing that I was kind of thought about myself, related to my marriage, that I've talked about, is with a husband being home all the time and doing a self-employment business, or let's say both of you are doing a self-employment business, there is a high stakes risk with that. Very, very high stakes. And the high stakes is that if your business starts going down south, and when I say down south, that means that your business is failing, things can go bad. So you have to have a really, really strong relationship and an understanding with each other that the business is a risk. And so if you're doing things for a profit versus doing something where it's just very, very risky. Right now, rent is too expensive for people to afford to rent a building. I would advise against getting a loan. Do not get a loan for a business, any business. What we do on YouTube, you don't need a loan. You just do stuff. You may or may not get monetized. So you're not going to get discovered. You're not going to get famous. The Justin Bieber thing, I don't know what came out of that. With the Justin Bieber thing, I think that I know he was part of a network, I believe. I think he was part of a network in advance, and that was staged. I think Justin Bieber was staged because they were trying to see what direction YouTube was going and if they needed to be on YouTube and how they could monopolize. And that's exactly what happened. the monopoly comes along. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to be able to monopolize this. And then not only that, then they monopolize the elections, and so they're batting back and forth with their own channels on cable TV and on YouTube. And it's like it gets old. There was someone else who was chatting with me at the same time when I was saying this stuff is getting old because of what they're doing, and they were agreeing with me. I don't know who I was talking to, some anonymous person. They knew exactly what was going on. And I said, I'm tired of it too, but I don't know what to do about it. It really doesn't seem like there's anything at all that we can do about it related to getting it to stop, because I think it's a lot larger than what we all know. Absolutely, that turned out to be true. It was a lot larger, the network people, and then to think that they were getting people from outside of the United States, absolutely true. And then they brought them to the United States, and they were doing other things like building houses, and they were paying people off, people from migrants from other countries to do things that, basically amounts to slavery is what it amounts to. And then they're doing that to American citizens too, because there are Americans involved um, with what I would call human trafficking practices. I've seen that firsthand, absolutely seen that firsthand. And, it's like I didn't realize things were that they would stoop to such levels, but it's a fact. It actually literally happened. So, and it's happened under 45, 46, 47. I believe it was happening under 44 as well. It just wasn't as big. But as things increased, and then they want to increase the networks, because Hollywood has always had ties to networks. It's just that I never even knew that till the past 5 years, that Hollywood always had ties to networks. I never knew that they had ties until the last 5 years, until they started testifying on Capitol Hill. And so now the celebrities are telling on what's going on. They don't like what's going on their own self because they're not making any money. But see, their sole motivation is to make money for their shareholders. So they literally are human investments. So their brands. So who is someone I could think of, old celebrity, an old, well, let's think of someone who's passed away, maybe like Archie Bunker. So right now, if Archie Bunker from, well, Meathead, his son too, that just passed away. All in the Family, that was their name, All in the Family. So they would be considered owned a brand. The brand Archie Bunker, All in the Family, they're owned. Archie Bunker is owned by a brand. And then I think they buy and sell things. They buy and sell the celebrities. So they're literally owned by a company. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Now, one of the oddest ones, though, was Bill Nye the Science Guy. Because when I lived in Germany, I heard this thing that Bill Nye the Science Guy had died. Or no, it was before I went to Germany. And next thing you know, Bill Nye the Science Guy is popping up on AFN. He's like, hey, there you are. I bet y'all heard that I died. Well, that's not true. I'm still alive. And so next thing you know, Bill Nye the Science Guy is back in the media again. And I thought, well, this is fun. So that what we heard was not true. And so it was just kind of fun because I always liked Bill Nye the Science Guy. He had some fun things and fun experiments, and it was one of those things that we weren't hearing about the crappy news all the time, because I hated the news with a passion. Even during Operation Desert Storm, hated the news with a passion. They told us they didn't tell us to stop watching it or anything like that, and I had said that before. They told us to maybe try to limit what we were doing, to not, that we didn't have to watch it as much, because they were looping headline news. And it seems like right now what we have on the internet is sort of a form of headline news looped where it's just like nobody's even reading or looking at anything beyond the headline. That is basically what we have going on right now, is looped with everything on YouTube. So it's like, well, I'll just do what I do. Maybe things will change in the future, maybe they won't. But what's it gonna hurt? So right now I have nothing else to do. Um, related to finding a job and making myself better. This is what everybody's telling me. You need to think more positive. Find yourself a job, make your life better, improve your life. You can do it. You can do it. Go you, go you. You can do it. Make your life better and improve. And it's like, I never told people that they had to make their life better. And it's like, where is this coming from? Who's doing this? Is it Wall Street? Because that sounds like Wall Street rhetoric, where someone came out of Wall Street, they decided to try some positive motivation things on people because they've got a new app out. I think TikTok. TikTok would be it, because it didn't exist. When did it come around? 2016, so it's close to 10 years old now. And so they want to keep their people over there on TikTok motivated to make money for an app that all these people are not making any money their own self. It's like, well, if you're not making money, why would you want to make money for an app when they're not going to share the revenue with you? Now, I know YouTube used to share the revenue at one time until Adpocalypse. And I think that was purposely orchestrated to try to take YouTube out, to try to get rid of the internet, to make the internet look really, really bad. And that's kind of the thing I was feeling about with the kids on the internet too, is, that, well, right now I'm feeling the thing of that there are adults who want their kids to be on the internet and that they don't care. It's not that they don't care what their kids are exposed to. It's just that some of the stuff that we're doing, they don't see as a threat to their kids. And I kind of felt that even when I was at the house where there was less mean people coming by, and they were putting their kids around me, and in a sense kind of like, I don't see you as a threat of anything. I was kind of feeling like they were kind of saying, it's like, I would trust you around my kids because I don't see you as a threat, and so to me it was kind of like um, I don't know what I would call it. It was kind of nice just to have not anonymous people um, who didn't see me as a threat just because of a key word that I used on the internet. Because that's how the internet works, is, and then you have other people who are like, and it's so funny now, it's like those same people who want us to support them and what they do on the internet, the ones who are complaining about, it's like we see all these First Amendment audit videos of these women who are threatened by someone recording them, and I'm thinking, well, you look like nothing but a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home mom who got a job now, and you're making some really decent money. And now all of a sudden you decide you want to say some really crappy things to someone else because you've heard that they're making lots of money. Like these bank First Amendment audits are so ridiculous. I mean, I didn't realize they were such a problem. I do now. Oh, you can't record out in front of the bank. Well, the bank is recording people, aren't they? They absolutely are. The bank is recording people. It's like, but I don't want to get in the middle of that. What do I have any pets? You made your um, I, um, I have, um, a thing. I have a piece of wildlife that, um, I'm not going to identify. Um, I used to, both him and me. Someone had told me at one time, this was the funny part when I had my original channel. They told me, they said, well, your dog is going to be more famous than you ever will be. And I said, yeah, I know that. I said, I know that. I mean, I understood that, because the thing is, I already knew how those trends on YouTube worked, or on the internet. As far, that looks pretty good. And I always thought he might have liked a cat one day too. I loved cats my own self. Now, the thing I didn't like, I'm going to tell you something. If you start putting an animal and making it famous on video, there's some negative consequences that come along with that. And so I do have a canine. And so the canines actually, if you get them all riled up, they actually respond to you picking up your phone. Now that's something to think about. Do you want that? Do you want your animal responding every time you pick up your phone, or every time a ding goes off on the phone, or every time you turn some type of light on or something like that? Do you want your animal responding to the phone? You just go to pick it up, or let's say you go to pick up a pen, your canine will think you're going to pick up your phone, and they start hamming it up for the phone. It's like, that's just like kids though too. Is that something that you want? For me, it was no. It's like, it's not worth it to put an animal on. It's like, I want him just to be an animal. I want him to just respond normally. I don't want him responding to me picking up a device or a camera, or something like that. I just want him to be an animal that just is around to be comforting, and I don't want him to feel like he has to perform every time I pick up the phone. And plus, it gets annoying though too. So it gets really annoying. And so I thought, no, this is the whole reason that we are. There's little indications of things, of why to not monetize nature. And so taking away the circuses that have animals and things like that, and kind of people going against, and challenging having whales and dolphins down in Florida and things like that, that really makes sense to me too. And I thought, I can't do that with my animal. Oh, you have 5 cats and you have 1 dog. There's nothing wrong with having animals. And if they just wander in through something every once in a while, that's, or you catch something, then you catch it. But, too often, there was a, there was a channel on YouTube of a dog that was famous, and it was like a Hollywood dog. And so it had, I think its purpose was to maybe sell dog food or something like that. So there are places that there are, media companies who do, things for the purposes specifically of training their animals to do things like that for commercials. And, so, but what's funny right now, one of the things I saw on TikTok today was the cats hiding in the Christmas tree. And at one time I often thought, oh my gosh, I wish I had a cat. Because my cat did that. When I had a cat, this was like 30, 40 years ago, I had a cat. Hid in the Christmas tree, did the same thing. And they're all hiding in the same identical spot. And I thought, yep, that's exactly where my cat hid at too. In the artificial tree. And they do sit there, poke their heads out, and push the ornaments off the tree. That's something, they all do the same thing. Every last cat. Are cats sheep? I think cats are a kasheeple. We'll call them a kasheeple, is what they are. A cat sheeple, a kasheeple. What would it? Cats are sheep. They're not dumb. They're slick. They're little rodents at times, and pests. When they want to be. And I think that I figured out, like with the cats, Well, no, it is true. You know, with the cats, when they're hungry and they need water, they will follow you around. Sometimes cats will just follow you around for no reason at all. So they'll follow you around like they're a dog. And they do. Um, Kasheeple. Oh, I see what you just wrote. Oh my gosh. The Kasheeple. That is funny. You just wrote that out. I didn't even think about it. If I would have written it down, I would have seen that right away. Oh, that's funny right now. The Kasheeple. You know how people like to call humans sheeple? And it's like, well, okay. A lot of us do the same thing. We know that. We know we do the same thing. We're carbon copies of each other. No matter what DNA, no matter what loins we came from, no matter what tenderloins we came from, we are the same and we do a lot of the same things. We say a lot of the same things. We're influenced by being human. But, so I just want to take some of the sting out of, if someone finds that we call each other sheeple, I think it's funny. I literally think it's funny to be called a sheep as a human, and I don't care. I really don't. YouTube has actually put me in a place of, I guess if I would have been raised in a different kind of family where when I was a kid that instead of being told that word is not nice, instead I would have been able to say the words, then the words itself, the power of saying the sting would have been taken away. I think that's probably a good thought process because when you say the word so much, or you've seen it on the internet or been called it or something like that, then the sting is kind of taken away, and it's like, okay, that cancels out any negative feelings towards that word, and now we're just gonna deviate on over to a different word. But yeah, kasheeple is funny. A sheeple, a sheeple. Oh my gosh, there's a third. You know what? Humans are a sheeple. There's another blur word because a sheeple is actually very popular, but you put the kasheeple on there like a cat, sheeple, cat. Um, oh my god. Well, maybe I'll have to see if one of my chat bots. Actually, today, who won? Let's see which one of them won. This picture is Chat GPT today because this is the one that I liked the best of all because the other two, Grok and Gemini, I asked them, well, Gemini actually did pretty good, but Grok, on the other hand, decided to go towards a young woman. And I asked Grok to make an old woman, and Grok gave me a young woman instead. Kasheeple, yeah, yes, the kasheeple. Oh, would that be a dasheeple? Dasheeple dash? Dash isn't there a popular YouTube channel named Dashy or something like that? Dash, Dasheeple and Kasheeple, Kasheeple and Dasheeple. Exactly. Kapeople? Is that a kapeople? A kapeople and a dapeople? Dap, Dapeeple, and a kapeople? Capeeple, people, kapeople and the people. Kapeople and the people. But yeah, but the kasheeple is funny. Especially with I don't know, can I say it? With cash being such a popular word, plus you got Cash App. Then you've got Cash App, who is the director of the FBI. Kasheeple, Kasheeple, Petipel, Patel, Cash, uh, Kashipatel. Kashipatel, is that his name? Kashipatel. Yeah, that would be a word too, Kashipatel. Um, and so they all tie in, yeah. Um, so it's funny how there's a lot of things you can find that's kind of funny that the government does, and they're not taking themselves as seriously as what people think, even though there's some things that do need to be taken seriously, but at the same time, I mean, because people did call the government a stodgy old cigar at times, probably a stodgy old stinky cigar, and um, an institution that never wants to change. But I have to wonder, it's like, well, what do you want the government to change into? So if we're trying to do something, now the thing that I had said my own self was that the government literally can't keep up with the expectations of what Hollywood and Silicon Valley want the government to do related to funding and, raising prices. So when we think about San Francisco, it's like it's got to be expensive out there too. California is like excruciatingly, painfully expensive. And it was when I lived there too. Okay, you drew a person and a cat and a sheep. Yeah, maybe I'll do that later. Wouldn't that would be interesting? A human. Well, you can ask the chatbots to morph them together, so you can. Maybe I'll do that later. I'll do a. How would we do that? A cat, a sheep, and a human, and we put it into thirds, the face into thirds. I've done halves before, where I've done half of a animal's face. Well, actually, what I've done is drawn it, or instead of cutting it in half, which I could have done like this, I could cut it in half, and then place it together with another. Well, let me see what I've got here. So if I don't know. So it would be kind of like if I took these two and squished them together like that, I would create something really strange, like a parasitic head of some sort. I don't want to fold it, but then I kind of do. I don't want to sacrifice, like this guy, I don't want to sacrifice him, but okay, let me see what I can do here. Okay, let me see if I can. It would be kind of something like that. But on this card, well, wait, maybe I'll use my example from yesterday. Okay, I don't have my scissors out. Okay, but this will work. I'll use my example from yesterday. So it's the morphing thing. And so, okay, so I've got this thing right here. So remember we did this yesterday, it was the ice. So let me cut this in half. Like this. We're just going to tear it in half. Uh-oh. That's not working very well. Okay, we're cutting this in half like that. Oh, I like that though. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this is another, you see what this is right here? So I can take that's sort of cool, actually. I've done this before too, like cut things straight and then torn them, and then I'll do something in the middle of something else, and so like, now the paper's not as transparent with the other ones that I've done. But let me do, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this here, and so I'm going to put this on here like that. Do you see that? See how we've changed it now? And so it's kind of like taking what you draw. It's taking what you draw and then making it half of something else and just changing the appearance of it all together. And so I could do the same thing with this upside down as well and put that on there. It almost looks like Kool-Aid Man. And so you see how I took the melting face from yesterday that we did. It was a melting face and this was at the bottom. So now it's at the top. And so I've just completely covered this up. And so we can literally do morphing with drawing too, in the same manner, like that. And doing layering. So layering, this is fun too. I was never taught this in art class. I was sort of taught it a little bit related to layering with oil paints, but never layering. It was never called layering, but it is. This is just like what we do in Photoshop. So you have layers of things that you do, so you can have your same drawing, but let's cover it up and layer it and do something a little different with it like that. Now imagine taking this, you take a picture of it or whatever you want to do, you make a video of it, and then you morph it into something else. And so that's kind of fun too, doing it like that. And then you still have but you still have your original drawing here because you can put it back together again like that. Now what I would recommend, and then even this becomes cool too. What else have I got that I could use? Anything else that I have that I can use? I don't see anything that I have right now. Oh, let's do this guy and see what we come up with. Okay, let's put him back in here. Okay, so let's take, oh, isn't that sort of cool? So, okay, let's put it together like that. We've got that right there. Now we can kind of see through it, but let's pull it apart like that. And so if you have some solid paper, these are cool images too. Do I have, I wish I had some solid paper. This might work. This might give me more of a, okay, let's see if I can do this with, okay, that one's got is not as transparent with that paper below it. So we put this over, and then we have kind of like a, we just see his eye then. And then if you wanted to, let's say you have something else, you know, other little props or things that you have, you know, you can put other things in your image too. But I always thought this was fun, you know, putting it together like a puzzle piece and then pulling it apart. Then you've blended two images together like that. If you have construction paper, torn construction paper, and then you have another image, so you can cut out an image from a magazine and then cover it up. So you're actually, what you're doing is you're taking an existing image that could be copyright, it could be, and you're modifying it by doing this to it. Just with a simple, I'm going to call it sort of a little hack. You know, so if you took my image here like this, which, you know, which some people might call it copyright, and then, but it's too expensive for people to file a copyright for all of their work. It's entirely too expensive. So people have overused the copyright thing, which YouTube says everybody's work is copyright. That's a fact. That's true. Your body of work that you do is copyright, but people can't afford to file, you know, a copyright for everything because it's too darn expensive. Okay, so if you want to use something, you modify part of the works. So the simple solution is to do this. Let's see, I've got this thing right here. Let's see if what we do. What else can we do? We can take and do this to him like that. And we can change him a little bit like that. So there, you've just with a piece of paper that fast, you've modified the original art just that fast. And so that's how you can use magazines. You can use you could use a celebrity, do the same thing. if you're doing a magazine, okay, I used to get Harper's Bazaar. So I would take and I would paint so there would be a woman or a man, and I would like paint in the hair. I would add to the eyes. I would get markers and I would color them up so you couldn't even recognize them anymore. So I was adding additional elements to the images in the magazines so you couldn't see who they were anymore. So there was a baseline for a drawing that was already there with the cutouts from the magazine. Let me see if I have something here that an example of something that I could use. I don't know if I have anything. I've got a little thing here. I don't really see much of anything. Okay. Oh, let me use. Okay. Okay. I'm not monetized, so I don't think that this is going to be a problem for me to do this. Okay. Because, okay, let me see if I can do this. Okay. I should be able to do this. Okay, so I did find something. So this is someone else's drawing. And so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to it. Well, actually, we could rip it in half. But okay, so I'm going to just start off here. And I'm just going to add big bubbles and things around their heads like this. And, okay, so I'm going to draw some lines like this. I would use a different color, though. But let me get you out from under here. I don't want a bunch of embossing marks. So I'm just showing you how to use copyright. Maybe I need to shut my flashlight off here. Let's shut you off. Yeah, that'll work now. And so this might not even... Okay, so I'm trying to do something here to kind of cover up. This is a bad picture. Okay, that's a bad picture to use because of the colorations there. I don't have any paint right now. Well, let's see. Let me see if there's something else. Okay, this was something about Winston Churchill, I thought. Hillsdale College. Okay, so this lady right here. So let's put some hair on this lady right here like that. Okay, do you see that? How we changed? Well, we need to change her a little bit more. So... yeah, that's not very good. Okay, let's do text or something. So we've got some written words right here. And so, okay, so I want to do some text like this. Let's just draw a heart. We'll draw a heart, and we'll just doodle a little on our paper here. And so we're modifying the text right here just like this. Do you see that? And so we're doing this, we're not like using it for the purposes of the text. We're doing it for another reason for doing it for artwork. So we're not uploading things for the purposes of text. Plus we're significantly modifying the original artwork of what we're doing right here. Like that. So I'm not trying to infringe on Hillsdale College's rights of their literature that they send to me. I do get literature from Hillsdale College, and I do read it. I kind of enjoyed reading it. Oh, this is kind of interesting. See that little heart there? How that's turning out? I kind of like that. I was going to throw this away, but now I like the design of the heart that I'm making there. And so, um, okay, so since it's the holiday, should we make some tinsel? Yeah, maybe let's make some tinsel here or something tinsely looking here on the text, so we can use text kind of as a background and also modify, so if you don't have any paper to color on or something like that. But I'm gonna have to find something that is an actual. That's what I loved about the bazaar. It was called, what was it, Harper's Bazaar or the Bazaar magazine? I used to get the Bazaar magazine, Bazar. I think it was Harper's Bazaar. And yeah, Kashipo will be fun. I'll do another video actually a little bit later on and do some Kashipo. I think that will be fun, actually. And so I would modify the papers inside of the magazine. And there's a lady on YouTube that I follow. Her name is Mary Altier or something like that. Mary, and she does some similar things. And I think that's probably, I learned from her, related to, because YouTube is always saying, well, or not just YouTube, but people related to modifying a significant portion of the works of something that you're doing for the purposes of art, and even for educational purposes says you can do things, so like when I went to college, one of the things that we learned was we could do things at the college. Now the college institution in and of itself actually, well, thank you. The college in and of itself was actually, well, it was an educational institution, and so we could use copyright works because that's what it says. For educational purposes, you can use parts of copyright works. So the thing, but now this is the problem that's kind of a double standard though, because so we're teaching kids in colleges that you can use copyright works for educational purposes. So then when they graduate, the first thing they want to do is go onto the internet and make a music video. Upload the whole video, the whole 5 minutes of the song and the video. The first thing they get is a copyright strike. Well, that's not going to work. That's not a very good education system right there, because then the teachers are not teaching that when they graduate and go out in the professional world, if they're starting their own business, such as an online business, then they're going to have to deal with copyright. So they don't cover that part. You would have to pay extra money to take a course in copyright. Now, I can take it further because of the fact, this is where I really wish I could show, I can, but I don't want to right now. And see, that's where I was kind of going with my original channel related to the things about copyright that we don't need to do. And I exposed my address. And so the thing with that was that I did copyright something. I spent $5,000, and the copyright attorney, I think she called herself a trademark attorney. And for me, it was kind of frustrating because I gave her $5,000 just to file some paperwork. And then she says, well, she says, now you can do this yourself if you want to. If someone uploads something, you can contact them, or then you can contact me. And I was just thinking, so it cost $5,000 just to file, because she never explained anything to me further, she just, and so they go with the flat fee thing, and it's like, really? And that's a lot of money. You have to go. You'll be back later. Okay, yeah, thank you. You have a good day too, and I will talk to you later. I'm going to have to go too. So I'll talk to you guys later, and we'll work on a kashipo. I think that'll be fun. We'll do a kashipo. And I like this. And I did get my AI privileges back, but I think that I hurt AI's brain yesterday. That's the indications I'm getting today. I hurt AI's brain. So every time I see an ambulance, I'm hurting AI's brain. That used to happen where I was living at. Um, when I was married, I was hurting AI's brain apparently all the time. And I don't mean to do that, but I mean, when every time I see an ambulance somewhere, sometimes it's out on the road and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't mean to hurt AI's brain. And I had a neighbor guy literally tell me that one time, that I hurt his brain. He told me I hurt his brain. Or I no, what was it? Because I think he worked for Comcast, so he and I were kind of like competing. We weren't competing with anything. He was just outside talking on the phone all the time. I was doing the internet all the time. I liked the guy. He was hilarious. He was so funny. And it's like we did, it was kind of like, I had to take something over to their house one time, and I looked in their living room and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys kind of have a similar living room to what I have. And he come over one time and he asked for something because I was getting rid of something. And I told him, yeah, go on ahead and take it. So there's some remodeling that was being done. I told him, yeah, go on ahead and take it. And so he took something that, I think it was some blinds that we had. He said he needed them for something. And so, but he was like one of these guys who's always out in his driveway talking on the phone all the time. And I thought, what in the world are they doing? That they're talking on the phone that much. Now, this guy, he got in trouble because he hooked up and I actually agree with what he did, though. He kept hooking up his cable to his house, so he had cable TV. Now, what happened was we all had cable when we moved into those houses. So the cable company comes along and disconnects everything. They disconnected all the bedrooms. They disconnected everything outside. And I'm thinking, well, since when does the cable company get to come to your house that you're buying and disconnect everything from your house that was already hooked up? And that's what they did. And I thought, that is so shitty, because they wanted you to rent a box for every room to have cable TV in all of your rooms, so they made more money. And so what would happen is they'd come out, they would disconnect him from the cable TV, and he would just promptly hook it right back up because he knew how to do it. And then I cracked my box open one time because I thought, heck, it's on my house. The house is paid for. It's my house. And the cable company literally damaged property. Now, me right now, if I knew what I know now, back when they were doing it, I would have been taking pictures and then calling up a lawyer and saying, look, the cable company is literally damaging my house. Because all of these connections were connected at the time I bought the house, but then the cable company comes out and they disconnect everything because they want to make extra money for every room in the house. That means they're regulating inside of my house. They don't have a right to do that. Plus, they damaged my property. They damaged the little connections on the house inside of the cable box. They didn't have a right to do that. And so there was a guy out there one time, he's like, well, I'm trying to figure out which one of these I need to hook it up to. And they're just moving really, really slow all the time. And so when I had moved into that house, they were actually telling us that there's fiber optics in the cable, and that the fiber optics was supposed to be faster than the old cable that they had. And so I believed them, and I thought, well, this is pretty cool. We've got like a phone line in every room, and then we've got a cable connection in every room. And then lo and behold, the cable company wants to raise the price and then add on all these additional fees and everything. They're backdoor back-end fees because Comcast and Xfinity are on Wall Street. I'm like, you don't get to do that. You're just inflating the price of, and it's like, and the thing I thought is, well, besides, I can't get my YouTube channel stuff up on cable TV. I'm not like Mike Myers or Dana Carvey where I can just what was that show that they did? Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, where they did the cable access show. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Was that it? I don't know. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And they were talking about cable access TV, and they had their own, so that kind of prompted my mind into the direction where, okay, now we have YouTube. Everybody can be a star, which cancels out celebrities, right? Because it's true, it's a fact. See, Masked Man, he has to go because of the fact he's an attorney. I know you're an attorney. I know you are. Because that's what they do. When you start talking about legal things, all of a sudden, I have to go. I have to go. I know he's an attorney. I know. I just have a sneaky suspicion he's an attorney. Because every time you talk about some legal things that might cross their... I don't get why they have to go. Why do they have... It's something they don't want to talk about, though. I think they know that they're in the middle. I know that for a fact. They're caught in the middle of something. I know that for a fact. So I'm trying not to be too hard on attorneys. But I'm going to poke the hell of fun out of them. I am going to do that. I try to do it to women, but AI won't let me do it to women as much. And I don't want to do it to women because women already have too hard of a time. I was going to... Oh, I did one time, though. The guy on the boat with the two women in the bikinis, that's kind of poking fun at women because it pokes fun at the thing of where you have an old man who's about 30 or 40 years older than... I have to go to the store with my mom. That's why I have... Are you going to the Publix? Are you... I mean the Publix. The Publix... No, wait. The Publix Cube? The Publix Cube. Do you want me to tell one more story? I'm going to tell one more story. No, I can't. He said he's only 10 years old. I can't tell the story. Because I was doing something wrong when I was in high school I shouldn't have been doing, but we could legally buy the magazine over the counter. When I was in high school, I could legally buy the Playgirl magazine over the counter. And I used to buy Playboy for my brother. And the only reason he couldn't buy it was because we didn't have a store in town. Otherwise, my brother would have just been able to buy it on his own. I mean, now the thing is, when we went inside to the stores, I mean, we could actually, when we went into the stores, we could look at Playboy and Playgirl magazines. They didn't have covers on them, and so that was like one of the things that we did when we were kids in a gas station. We found the naughty aisle all by ourselves and was looking at the magazines, and they had the girls' busts all hanging out and everything like that, And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm 12 years old. I can buy cigarettes at the age of 12. There was no age limit. Back in the 70s, we could buy cigarettes when we were kids. I mean, there was no age limit. We could buy cigarettes. What else could we buy? We could buy cigarettes. I think we probably could buy condoms. We could look at dirty magazines. The dirty magazines is the funniest 70s thing of all. The naughty magazines. Oh my gosh, when we were 18, we could go into a dive hotel that that played dirty, naughty movies. Oh my goodness. Oh, goodness. I have to go. I think I have to go say some prayers and ask God to forgive my sins for me. Because I've said too much of the bad, horrible, horrific things I did when I was a kid. I need to ask for forgiveness now from God. Oh, dear God and baby Jesus, please forgive me for the sins that I did when I was a kid, that I didn't know any better, that I wasn't supposed to do, that I wasn't supposed to be learning about these things. Because they talked about it in church all the time. They talked about stoning women. They talked about bad things they did to women all the time in church. in the New Old Testament. And so I was confused between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I was so confused because they were talking about an old time of things that Jesus wasn't really in the Old Testament much at all, now was he? He really wasn't. And so, but the Bible was like like the Old Testament and then the New Testament. It was all lumped together. But then now people are saying, well, we're supposed to just be reading the New Testament, not the Old Testament. Well, why is it still sold together? Why are you telling me he still keeps right? He's listening. I know he's listening. And he's pretending to be a 10-year-old. I know he is. But he's making his own artwork, and that's fine. I don't care how old you are, because you're never too old to have fun making your artwork. He has to go to the store with his mom. He has to go to the Publix. You gotta go to the Publix store with your mom. Is your mom gonna have you pay for things through her phone? Is that what's going to go on there? She's going to have you pay for, you're going to be buying things. Your mom is going to be having you buy things? Is that what's going to go on here? Is this what your mom looks like? Is this what your mom looks like? Have a good day. Why do I feel like that I've met you before? Masked while mysterious. Because you have. Did we do something we weren't supposed to do? Do I have a turd in my pocket? Or is it you that has the turd in your pocket? Get your hands out of your pocket and stop playing with the turd. Or did your mom cut a hole in your pocket so you had something to play with when you were a kid because you were so poor that your mom cut? My first husband said that all the time. He says, we were so poor that my mom cut holes in my pocket so I'd have something to play with. That's what he told me. He said we were that poor that his mom had to cut holes in his pocket so he had something to play with. And I'm like, I thought about it as like, well, what was it there that your mom was giving you to play with? I didn't get the joke at the time, because my brain wasn't in that place. I was dismissing the fact of that he could have been talking about what he was talking about, and then later it's like, well, there's really nothing there for you to play with. I was thinking, maybe your mom should have stuck a mouse trap on it or something like that, and then you could have walked around all day with a mouse trap there. Because it seems to me like maybe the mouse ate a hole in your pocket, and you should have had a mouse trap and a little bit of cheese there, and then you would have caught your hand, and you could have said some Hail Marys or something, and gone to hell in a handbasket. Because you need to go to hell in a handbasket. That's what we've all been told for thinking those impure thoughts. We're sinning. Oh my God, we are sinning, and we are going to hell in a handbasket. For thinking those thoughts. Get those thoughts out of your head. You're not supposed to be thinking that stuff. You're gonna burn in hell. God does not want you thinking about that stuff, nor does Jesus. But Mom, how did we get here? How in the hell did we get here? Shh, be quiet. You don't want anybody to hear. We're going to hell in a handbasket for thinking those impure thoughts. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. We're going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, we're going to hell in a handbasket. Okay, I've sinned enough. I'm tired of religion. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm tired of it. They're schizophrenic. They need to go to the insane asylum. Oh my gosh. Either that or they've been drinking too much port wine. Oh no! Don't go to the Garden of Eden. I mean, I'm not going to imply that the Garden of Eden is right here with the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle. We don't want to go there. We just don't want to go there. Um, Mom, can I put a shoe cam? Can you buy me a shoe cam, Mom? I need to look and see if your tail is still there, Mom. Oh, Mom, is your tail still there? Oh, God, no. You don't want to get suspended from YouTube now. Don't do that. Oh, I amuse myself. That's why I go down in the sewer. I end up down in the sewer and in the hole every time. Man in the hole! Boom! Okay, well, that's it. Goodbye. Have fun with your mom at the grocery store in the Publix. Are you going to be licking? Oh, don't say that. No. Get those thoughts out of your head. AI has a really dirty mind. It needs an exorcism like Linda Blair.